What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fourth and Goal, your weekly injury digest, part of the Injury Experts channel. Myself, Rahul, and joining is our super awesome physical therapist, Dave. How's it going? And week three preseason's here, Dave. Almost there, almost there. A couple of more, maybe like a week and a half. We're out there.
Yeah, Rahul. I mean, we have 2 weeks and one day until my Philadelphia Eagles kick off the NFL season against the Dallas Cowboys. So, just one more preseason game to get through this upcoming week/weekend, and you just got to hope and pray that none of the big guys get injured from here on out.
Talking about big guys, dude. Joe Burrow. What is he doing, dude? Getting like sacked back to back and kind of, oh my God. It was just like scary. Like
Yeah,
their defense is already bad. And if he gets injured, that's it. Bengals can wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, with that game, I mean, I only watched a little bit. I don't know how much you watched against the Commanders, but it looked like they have the same exact problems as last year. Defense is Swiss cheese, like you mentioned. Offensive line, they got turnstiles out there, which guys are just blowing by them. So, I mean, you figure a team with a decent pass rush. I mean, you got Myles Garrett in the same division, TJ Watt in the same division. You got the Ravens defensive front. I mean, it could be another rough. I wouldn't say season for Burrow, but he could get beat up along the way, which is something we're going to take a close eye on for sure.
Yeah. And again, guys, like our motto is to keep your team healthy. We're not here for hot takes. So that being said, Dave, let's jump in. Couple of big ones. I think we have to start with Devon Achane. Calf injury, and he's had it going through his player like history, injury history, right from Texas A&M, multiple knee injuries here and there, ankle injuries. Last year he had a couple of injuries, missed a game, but then whenever he was back, he was crushing it for fantasy. Is he the new CMC out here?
It's hard to say. I mean, still a young player, right? But his track record is definitely a little troubling with these injuries. Like you said, very, very explosive. But unfortunately, the flip side of that coin is when you're that explosive, you're more susceptible to these like soft tissue injuries, which is he has had a number that you mentioned already. They're calling it a calf injury, which is kind of troubling because you really need your calves 100% in order to cut and explode out of a cut. So, Mike McDaniel, the coach says, hey, it's going to be preventative in nature, nothing to worry about. But, us here doing what we do, we are going to be a little bit worried about it, especially this close to the season. General rule of thumb, if you're dealing with like a minor, muscle strain, which hopefully he is, like a grade one, that's probably like a 2 week injury. So that's probably putting us right up, up to the start of week one. So something definitely to keep an eye on there, especially with his injury history.
When I heard like calf and he was talking about preventative and everything, the first player that came to my mind was Aaron Rodgers when he tore his Achilles a couple of years back. Exact similar injury, preseason, had a calf tightness. And then I don't know if it's related. I don't know how much it's related, but just going off like observation, that was my first instinct. I'm like, oh my God, we don't want HN to suffer any major injury.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right in that kind of analysis, Raul. It's one of those things where if you have a very, very tight calf muscle, or it's strained and you rush back even a hair too soon, you are highly more susceptible to tearing your Achilles. Like you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers. Last year we had CMC. He was dealing with like a phantom calf injury. We didn't know for a while, and then we got more clarity. It was bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which is something that could develop for Devon Achane as well. You see it in basketball players too. If anybody watched the finals, Tyrese Halliburton came back with that strained calf for game seven. Within 5 minutes, he popped his Achilles. So it's something that, it's not just something you just brush off a strained calf. It's like, okay, this could potentially be something big.
Yep, and I think their backup running backs, Jalen Wright, not great, but Ollie Gordon's been really good. So let's see what happens. Let's jump on to some wide receivers. Again, a lot of wide receiver updates, and let's start with Malik Nabers. I think back tightness, we didn't know how severe it was. Dude didn't practice for like almost 2 weeks. He came back yesterday to practice a little bit. I don't think he's going like 100% yet. And going around his injury history, he's had some shoulder injuries, hip pointer, like late 2023 when he was at LSU. But he tries to play through injuries. And I don't know about this season. I don't know. He's going, what, top eight right now? What do you take on Malik Nabers and his back injury?
Yeah, I mean the conversation around Malik Nabers is, a little multidimensional. First, let's the good news, it's not the toe injury that's lingering. If it was the toe injury, if he had like a moderate or severe case of turf toe, that's going to severely hamper his explosiveness, his route running ability. So that's the good news. The bad news is back injuries. Back injuries can present a ton of different ways and they can last, from a couple days to a couple weeks to a month or so. So it could be a short-term, middle of the road or a long-term injury. We don't really know, unfortunately. And then the last part of the puzzle with Malik Nabers, quarterback play, right? I mean, the guy is clearly going top 10 wide receiver wise in fantasy, but what's his quarterback play going to be like this year? Russell Wilson right now is QB1. You got Jackson Dart on the bench. If I'm a quarterback, I'm just going to, force the ball to Malik Nabers. I don't really think they have much else behind him. A couple decent guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, and things like that, but no one like that gets you super excited for fantasy. So, I mean, would you feel comfortable still taking Malik Nabers, say end of round two, maybe begin or end of round one, beginning of round
Yeah,
two?
probably any top 10. I mean, it's just upside is crazy out here. Again, I don't know. Just like it just seems like an injury prone wide receiver. Like it just seems like it. I don't know why. Something tells me that, like, again, there are reports that he has like a head injury. I mean, I don't know. Again, he has crazy upside, and even if it's Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart, he's going to get his targets. Like classic LSU wide receiver is going to demand at least 10 targets a game, whether we like it or not. And people are going to, and there no other options, like you said. Who are they going to throw it to? Maybe Wandale, like in the slot, but still, he's an alpha receiver, top 10 for sure. So let's just hope his injury, he's ready for week one. But depending on how Russell Wilson performs too. I mean, we saw him with Pittsburgh last year. A couple of good games and then phew,
Yeah, a lot
falls
of
off a cliff. Yeah.
yeah.
Big injury with Chargers. I don't know if it has many major fantasy impact. Quenton Johnston, concussion, like he was terrible hit out there. And I think we were kind of reminded of Tua's injury, especially with his hands like going up.
Mhm.
So posturing and stuff like that. He's been weirdly disappointing. He was like a top pick for the Chargers a couple of years back. 2 years into the career, he's not done a lot. Going around his injury history again, a lot of injuries. I don't know how fantasy impact is going to be, but hopefully he recovers fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I don't think, anyone was really super excited to take Quenton Johnston in
Yeah,
fantasy this year anyway. Chargers are going to be run the ball type offense with Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh. So that's going to be, a lot of Najee Harris, Amarian Hampton, and then the short kind of underneath guys. So like Lad McConkey, remember they just signed Keenan Allen. So
Trey
he's back
Harris,
too. Yeah, Trey Harris. So, Quentin Johnson was really that deep vertical threat, which wasn't a huge part of the Chargers offense, and I don't think it will be. But like you said, scary injury. Hopefully he can come back soon and just be healthy because you hate seeing that on the football field.
yep. A rookie update: Tetairao McMillan had a hamstring strain. Looks like a classic, like ramping up to the season hamstring soft tissue issue. All the signs point towards he'll be ready for week one. But is there a red flag? I don't see any major injury from his college. Like, dude's been pretty fit like throughout his career, like going all the way going up to high school. Should be any concerns with McMillan?
I wouldn't say any concerns at this point. Like we were just alluding to, at this point, you're hoping it's just a mild strain. These teams are going to be cautious. So a mild strain, 10 to 14 days, you rest him up, you do some PT and rehab, and he should be back to 100%. He's a big body wide receiver, not a lot of injury history like you mentioned. And he's going to be, wide receiver number one down there in Carolina. So middle rounds of the draft, if he's lingering out there and you don't love your wide receivers, I'm absolutely going to scoop him up just for the potential upside.
100%, 100%. Let's talk about the other McMillan in Tampa. Unfortunate neck injury. Looks like a C5 or a C6. That's the reports I read out here. And he has like a wrist fracture a couple of years back, hamstring issue last year, but looks like he's done for the regular season. Complete unfortunate. It's going to have like a ripple effect on the entire Bucks offense. They don't have Chris Godwin. They don't have McMillan. I think Ekbuka is going to get a major bump in his ADP. Of course, Mike Evans, as always, and Bucky, and potentially not Rashad White, because dude, he's having his own groin injury. Bucks is under a huge injury injury train right now. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the first year offensive coordinator, this isn't a great deck of cards to be dealt this early in the season. You're down there, so you're plugged in a little bit more than the rest of us, but I would definitely say huge bump for Egbuka. And it's awful about the Jalen McMillan injury. The good news is that at least they said he had full range of motion, full sensation, full strength. So you hear that he's in a neck brace, and that to me says, okay, there's some instability in his cervical spine or his neck. And that's very scary because you got the spinal cord right there. That could lead to some short-term or, long-term paralysis if that thing was left untreated. So likely going to be at least half the season, if not the full season. Hopefully, it's not a career ender. You hope that he can come back from this. Guys have before. But in the short term, I mean, a lot of Bucky Irving, like you said, Rashad White's dealing with a groin injury. So a bump to Sean Tucker for Bucky's handcuff. And then Mike Evans, dude's 100% chalked up for, 1,000 yards. So he's been on 11 years straight. Why not make it 12? It'd be crazy if he goes his whole career every year getting a thousand
Right.
yards. That would be insane.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think we touched upon AJ Brown and Matt Stafford last week. But again, like a couple of updates. I mean, AJ Brown, we know his injury history, been drilled with injury, but he plays through them. And Matt Stafford, back issue. Rams have been pretty weird about reporting his back injury. Like he tries to practice, but they keep saying they're going to take it weekly, daily. Something to be worried about, both like AJ Brown and Matt Stafford. The Eagles, I think Devonta Smith is going to have a bump for because of AJ Brown, and Matt Stafford is going to cause some ADP fall for Puka and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping my eye on the Rams practice reports and just the beat writers to say, how did Matt Stafford do in practice? It's one thing I think we mentioned last week to practice one day, but it's really the cumulative effect of throwing 30, 40, 50 plus passes consecutive days in practice. How does your lower back handle that twisting and the torque? We're going to find out. AJ Brown, I mean, I think the team is just being super cautious. Like you said, he has a decent injury history. He's just a big physical wide receiver, plays through contact. Hamstring strain, it might have been a moderate one, 3, 4 weeks. But he was out there with practice. He was like throwing passes to the wide receivers, pretending he was like quarterback. He looked pretty good throwing it. I mean, granted, that doesn't mean anything as far as his positional value in fantasy football. But I think he's going to be just fine for 2 weeks from tomorrow with the week one game against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yes. Pretty exciting. AJ Brown, I think they need him. The Eagles need him, especially with so many injuries the Eagles are already dealing with on the offensive line.
Yep.
Let's go to the Vikings. Justin Jefferson came back August 18th, hamstring strain in the camp. I think looks like he's going to be ready for week one. But I read in news, like I think multiple insiders reported this morning, talking about the Vikings looking to trade for a veteran wide receiver or even sign a wide receiver because Addison is suspended. Naylor is dealing with injury, so they currently have and Jefferson coming back from injury and TJ Hawkinson. That's it. So it looks like they're going to sign another wide receiver out there. They're probably going to trade. I don't know who they're going to trade for. They could bring back Adam Thielen from the Panthers, or Amari Cooper is sitting out there. We don't know what's going to happen out there. But again, just going back to the injury, Justin Jefferson's most likely be fine. But the Vikings, like they need support at the wide receiver.
Yeah, and this is the time. I'm glad that you mentioned that was like the guys that are on the roster bubble. Yeah, there are some free agents lingering out there. None of them get you super excited, but guys that are on the roster bubble, GMs are kind of at the round table and they're going to be like making trades. You already saw, my Eagles picked up John Mechie, and he was already getting reps with, I read, the first team offense
I saw
yesterday.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because AJ Brown, of course, we just mentioned was missing practice. So tells me, and it should tell you that teams are not thrilled with the options that they currently have. So they're looking for better. They're calling other GMs saying, "Hey, who's potentially on your chopping block? Well, let's try to make a deal. That way, you don't have to subject that guy to waivers and try to bring him back on your practice squad, which isn't always a guarantee." So the Vikings, I would not be shocked at all for them to make another move, especially you got JJ McCarthy. Justin Jefferson's going to get doubled, but he's still going to get his. He's still going to eat. But he's got to spread it out somewhere else. There is TJ Hawkinson. A good tight end is a rookie quarterback's best friend, security blanket, but they're going to need another threat to hold it down until Addison comes back from that 3 game suspension.
Yep. Oh, by the way, did you hear the Philadelphia? Eagles are going to change their name to Philadelphia Crimson Tide because they sign only Alabama players.
I did. I saw that, and I saw someone, I guess, photoshopped. It was the EAGLES logo, and the A was the Alabama, and the G was the Georgia
Yeah,
logo. And I
right.
was like, hey, I'm good with that because there were years where we were taking kids from obscure schools, and now it's just, hey, tap the SEC and build a powerhouse.
I still can't believe you guys skipped on Justin Jefferson. Like, oh my God, that's just crazy to just think about that. A couple of other news, not major injury updates, but we did hear Daniel Jones is going to be the starter for the Colts, and Brian Robinson Jr. Is on the trade block potentially. Just going through their injury stuff. So let's talk about Daniel Jones quickly. He had an ACL tear a couple of years back, neck strain in 2021, multiple ankle injuries, potentially going to be a big comeback story, but I still feel eventually Anthony Richardson's going to take over. Again, Anthony Richardson has his own injury concerns, like just going down, like dude has injury right from high school. Like you guys can check it out at the injuryexperts.com. But again, both QBs, injury riddled QBs. It's going to be interesting out there.
Yeah, it's again, the Daniel Jones news doesn't get you too excited about that. Like you mentioned, he's had his own injury history. I would say the neck injury was definitely one of the ones that
Hmm.
was, a little bit troublesome and worrisome for his, long-term outlook. Sh Shane Steichen's the head coach out there, so he's going to try to incorporate some type of RPO in his offense, and Daniel Jones can run a little bit. But, the flip side of that is, you're subjecting that guy to more and more abuse and hits. So I think honestly, I agree with you. I think Daniel Jones is just a ticking time bomb. He's going to get hurt or he's going to have a couple clunkers in a row. They're kind of coaching for their jobs there, the coach and the GM. So they're going to do whatever it takes to win games. I could see a revolving door of quarterbacks there between Richardson and Jones for a while. And then shifting gears to Brian Robinson. I mean, I was kind of surprised by it that the Commanders were looking to trade him. I thought he did pretty decent last year. And you're thinking, what else do the Commanders have as far as running backs? I know they have that
Hey,
rookie, right?
Rook, yeah, he's Bill. He wants to be called Bill, but his actual name is Jacory. Dude's been a standout on camp. Multiple great reports. I think they just saw him and they're like, okay, let's get value for Brian Robinson. I mean, Brian Robinson had the gunshot wound. I think he became famous for that after that. And last year he had some hip pointer rib issues. Again, he missed like 2 to 3 games last year. But if he's getting traded, I think yeah, Jacory is probably going to bump up to at least like the mid rounds, anywhere between 6 to 10. And then sneaky Austin Eckler, late round dart out there because he's going to be the receiving back up there. It's going to
PPR
be
machine,
interesting.
yep.
Yeah, PPR machine. So it's going to be interesting.
Um, well, the one thing that I am worried about, I want to hear what you think too. If, say, a team that RB2 questions, say the Bengals go out and get Brian Robinson. It's like, oh man, are you still taking Chase Brown as early as you would? It's tough.
Yeah, Chase Brown's going to get Chase Brown again. He thrives on PPR. He's not like last year on an average he had anywhere between 4 to 8 receptions. So he's still going to get his. I think that's why he's a PPR monster.
Yeah.
And the coach came out and said they're going to run the offense through Chase Brown. Even after signing Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that means great praise. And their rookie running back, he's no joke. Like Taj Brooks, dude was a monster at Texas Tech. So
Yep.
I don't see the Bengals trade, but again, there are teams out there. I mean, the Cowboys need like a running back. They can probably, but again,
Yeah.
Brian Robinson is not a. I don't know.
Not an
He's all right.
alpha.
Not an
Yeah.
alpha. Not an alpha. He can. We'll see what he does. But good thing. I mean, the number of injuries this past week was less. Let's just hope it continues for week 3 preseason day, and we'll keep you posted. If you have any questions, concerns, folks, let us know. Again, we're happy to do a deep dive on any player, especially multiple drafts coming up this week, next week. And good luck with that. Dave, any thoughts going to preseason number 3? And of course, players are going to get cut soon.
Yeah, I mean, I would just again keep an eye out on, the beat reporters of the certain teams that you follow. Trades are inevitably going to happen. And, week 3 of the preseason, if starters are going to play, they're probably going to play just a series or two. If they're playing more than that, then, that tells me that the coach is not satisfied with what he's been seeing in practice. But, the longer they're out there in preseason week 3, you're really kind of rolling the dice with that. And then one last thing is, hey, James Cook got paid too, so stock up for James Cook. But I mean, the big thing, as always with preseason, just please no injuries. Please no big injuries.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow needs to take care. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it for this week, folks. This is Fourth and Goal, your weekly injury digest. We want to keep your team healthy. Follow us. We are here every Wednesday evening, and looking forward to a wonderful season. Take care, everyone.
See you guys.